Hi, I am Professor Jackson, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the stress that you're probably feeling this time of year. It's a busy time, and you're moving into end of the semester exams, finishing papers, a lot of stress, and it's the holiday season as well, we're moving into. So, a lot going on. First of all, just to say that feeling stressful or even a little overwhelmed right now is completely normal, and you're not alone. A lot of people are feeling that. So, just to kind of put out there that this is not something unusual. What does require a little bit more attention, though, is if you are feeling something that is more than general stress. As I said, even overwhelm or a little anxiety, if you are feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling what you would describe as kind of empty inside, if you are feeling like you just can't quite get through the day, or you don't have the energy to get through the day, then it would be good to talk to someone. So that could be your dean of students, it could be a school counselor, it could be a trusted mentor, but speak with someone if you are even suspecting that what you're feeling is more than the general stress and anxiety that you'd be feeling at this time of year. So I do want to talk about how do you manage that general stress that we all experience from time to time. I have a few suggestions. My first one is going to be to do a time audit. This is something that I actually just really love to do. And that is to take time to figure out how you're spending your time. So, what you would want to do is to have a day, if you have an electronic calendar, or maybe you keep your calendar on paper, but actually have a day when you're writing down everything that you're doing and how you're spending your time. Record it in some way. So that's not just going to class or going to work if you're working or having a meeting, but it's also how much time are you actually spending on social media? How much time are you spending on your own self care? How much time are you spending with a pet or something like that? How much time are you spending during the day? And the reason that this is important is because a lot of times we tell ourselves that we're spending a certain amount of time on something, but it's actually a lot more than that. So, this is just about being deliberate about how you're spending the time and being aware of how you're spending your time. It also can kind of help with overwhelm and stress to be able to actually see, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm spending my day. At least I'm aware of that. And the thing that I like to see is, and maybe I'm only talking to myself here, is I tell myself that I've only spent 1 hour on social media looking at Instagram or something like that. And when I actually look at the time, it's, oh, well, that was 3 hours. Those 3 hours went really fast. And it's telling me that I'm spending time on something that I'm not even aware of the amount of time I'm giving to it. So, your time audit, you don't have to do it every day, just a typical day will tell you how you're spending your time. Okay, well, once you know that, what do you do with it? You're able to plan. Once you know how you're spending your time, one, you can decide if any of those things need to be adjusted or go off your list, but then you can decide, okay, how do I actually want to deliberately plan? And I have an idea for that as well. Um, this will require you putting things in categories and prioritizing. Why is that important? It's important because if you just have a bunch of stuff on your to-do list, including your meetings, your class, your papers, your work, everything, fixing dinner, everything is just kind of dumped on your calendar without prioritization, then everything becomes something that you have to get to right now. And I heard this from an emergency room doctor. And this really stuck with me because it was an emergency room doctor who said, we're in the emergency room. Everybody there feels that they have an emergency, But we can't treat everyone with the same level of priority. We have to decide who needs to be immediately triaged, who can sit there for a minute and, we can watch them, who needs to go to another specialist. And we have to make that decision really quickly because it could be life or death. Well, we're not dealing with life or death, but you are dealing with how do you prioritize so that you're not feeling like you're constantly putting out fires. So this is the plan, and this actually has worked really well for a lot of my students, and it works well for me. So I look at everything that I have to do in a week, or actually it could even be more than a week, all of the things that are due. So I had something that was a deadline that was due. Let's just say I have a deadline that's due next week. And then I have other things that I have to do this week. Well, what I do is that I first write everything down so I know everything that's coming at least in the next week, if not in the next couple weeks. Everything that is due beyond a week from now gets written in green, or if I'm doing it electronically, I might highlight it in green. That tells me I have a week or more to get that done. Everything that needs to get done within the week, but from 3 to 5 days. So if I'm doing this on Sunday, which I recommend, do it before the week starts. If anything that has to get done like Wednesday to Friday goes in, for me, it goes in like blue color or whatever color, but a blue color, so a different color. I know then just from looking at it that I have a couple of days, that's the end of the week. Anything that needs to be dealt with within the next 48 hours goes in red or some bright pink or some bright color that gets my attention. So if I'm either looking at it on my electronic calendar on my phone, or if I'm looking at it on a paper calendar, as soon as I open it, I visually see the things that I need to give my immediate attention to. And those are the things, that's my triage. That is what needs to be addressed in the next 48 hours because something's due, or I have a meeting that I need to show up at, or something like that. The things that are in blue toward the end of the week, okay, I have to get to those soon, but I've got to get my triage done first. And then the things that are in the green, obviously I have more time to do that. I have more planning. Those are not emergencies. Of course, what's in green, they're eventually going to change colors, but if I'm paying attention to it, then I'm managing that instead of my schedule managing me. I've had several students that really tell me that this has worked very well for them. And even just visually seeing the different colors on their calendar tells them, okay, just focus on the red or focus on the bright pink, whatever color you put it. And then you're able to move on from there. Okay, so we've gone through 2. The third one is something that is really just to give your brain a break and to give your eyes a break. You may have heard of the 55-5, or for some people it's the 50-10. And that is for every 55 minutes that you're sitting down working, particularly if you're at a computer, get up for 5 minutes and walk away. Stretch your body, go get a glass of water, just walk around, do something just to refresh yourself, your brain, walk away for 5 minutes. So for every 55 minutes, walk away for 5, and literally get up and walk away from your desk or wherever you're working. For some people, 50-10 works better. You figure out the formula that works for you. But what you want to do, and even if you set an alarm on your phone, for every X amount of minutes that you're going to be working, walk away. It not only refreshes your body, but there are actually studies that show that we perform better. We are actually more productive when we give our brains these little breaks and just walk away. Okay. The other thing is, this is called the 20-20. And that is for every 20 minutes that you are looking at a recording or looking at on a Zoom screen or just looking at your computer, just avert your eyes for 20 seconds. 20 seconds, not long. Even if you do it for a little bit less than that, that's okay. But let's say for 20 seconds, just avert your eyes. You don't have to get up for this. Just look at something else that's not a screen. Don't then pick up your phone and look at that. You have to look at something that's not a screen. So look at a piece of paper. You can choose to drink a cup of water, whatever. That avoids what they call zoom gloom. It helps your eyes, and it basically helps to keep your eyes healthy, and your brain gives your brain a little bit of a break. Okay, number 4. This is the last one I'm going to talk about right now. I call brain dump. This is great. This works so well, and even I have students who have PTSD. I have students who have been in the military. I have students who really have ADHD, have conditions where it's very hard for them to just shut down and to get things kind of out of their minds, and it interferes with their sleep. So they've got a lot to do, but they're not getting restorative sleep, and so they're basically miserable. I have suggested this for students, and they've come back to me and said that they have slept for the first time in I don't know how long. So what is it? I like doing it at the end of the day. Everything that is on my mind, whether it has to do with getting groceries tomorrow or whether it's something big, just put it on a piece of paper. Don't explain it. Just basically dump item by item. Doesn't have to be a narrative. It shouldn't be a narrative. Just dump item by item on a piece of paper. Anything that is taking up space in your mind. You don't have to evaluate it. You don't have to do any of that. Just dump it on the piece of paper. And then fold up the piece of paper, put it away. You can throw it away if you want to. You can flip it over, put it on a piece of paper and flip it over. Do something to indicate to your brain, okay, done with that. And then go to sleep. What happens is that our brains get the signal that, oh, that's handled. At least for now, that's handled. I don't have to keep working on that. I don't have to keep you up all night to keep thinking about that because I've handled it, right? And so just do that. I actually have had students who said that with everything that they've tried, this has worked the best. So that's an idea. If you want to take that can be all you do and just test it. Test it for a couple of days and see if that helps. If you want to take it a step further, what you can do is everything that you're worried about, everything that's on your mind, put on a piece of paper, and then circle everything that you have no control over. So you may be worried about world peace, and it has taken up some space in your brain. And then you can circle that that's not on your plate. You really, maybe there's some aspect of that you have control over, but you really have no control over it right now. So that gets circled. Once you look at all of the things that are circled, you basically take everything that's not circled and put it on another piece of paper. Those are the things that you have some control over that you can make a plan for. And then plan. Decide, how am I going to handle these things? Maybe these things get on your color-coded calendar. But those are the things that you actually plan for and decide, how am I going to handle these? The things that are left circled on this piece of paper, then you work on either letting those things go, delegating them if it's something that you can delegate. I guess you can delegate it, you have control over. These are the things you have no control over or very little control over. See how you can kind of release your attachment to these things, or at least start thinking about them in a way that is not occupying the space in your mind the way that it is now. Okay? But the important thing is to come up with a plan for these things that are that you're worried about, that you're thinking about, that have landed on your paper. Okay, so those are the 4 things that I'm suggesting right now. Number 1 is to do a time audit. Number 2 is to do your prioritization of what you need to handle in the next week or couple of weeks. Number 3 is 55-5. For every 55 minutes or so, get up, walk away, give yourself a break. And also the 20-20, for every 20 minutes or 30 minutes that you're staring at your screen, just avert your eyes for a few seconds, just a few seconds. And then number 4 is the brain dump, all right?